WAOH is brought to you in part by Jumpstart Video, online at jumpstartvideo.com.
Welcome back to WAOH TV. With me is an old running mate of mine, and I mean old.
Don't watch that. How
Kid
you're
man. You know, we haven't been on the air. We're back now. And,
no, it seems like.
And I didn't age a day.
We got to talk about that a little bit. There's a little, but okay, if you say so. Well, then I'm as good as I was, when I was in my 20s, right?
That's not what your wife says. But anyway, that's another story.
Okay.
What we're going to be doing here, now that we're back, is we're reintroducing some of the old shows that we did over the years, over 20 years worth of video that we will find on YouTube, and that's where we're going to be on a regular basis here, and Akron's only television station.
I think that's great.
That's a wonderful thing.
We got to say one thing. There used to be three of us, and so we'll do a shout out to our old buddy Don Morgan that's not here with us, being able to do this. So now it's down to two of us. Don and I tried to steal the show from you a long time ago.
I know you did.
Yeah, but now he's not there. How am I going to steal it now? But
Don's a Studebaker guy, and I taught him everything he knew about Studebakers.
I tell you what, if he's here, I'd like to hear him back up on that. But okay, you can go for that one.
Now you've got an automobile background as well.
I did, because
you have a fleet of vehicles. You've sold some.
I sold some. Still got a good barn full of them. So I run the King Midgets, president of Ohio King Midget Car Club, which we were just at an outing in Springfield, Ohio last week at the airport museum down there. We still run our cars every day and still got the Model A's, and I'm still building cars, and I'm not going to quit. So.
That's a very unique automobile, and I've seen it with my own eyes. You go to a car show, you have vehicles like these that are worth $100,000.
Right.
And people will be flocked around King Midgets.
I know.
It's amazing.
We pull in with a King Midget next to a Corvette, and the guy asked us, "Could you please park somewhere else because you're taking my audience?"
Exactly.
But the cars are unique and they're intriguing, and that's what pulls the people into it. So
today we'll be interviewing some of those people and taking a look at some of the classic automobiles that are now spread out over approximately 10 acres or
probably
so.
About 10 acres.
And we'll be back with lots of car stuff here on your local television. Hey, welcome to this edition of WAOH TV. I'm Handy Randy, and we have two jewels today. One of them being Donna Spiegler. She's the marketing director here at Stan Hywet. In back of us is the famous 65-room Tudor home, and another one of the Akron jewels. Donna, tell us about this great setting we have here and what's happening today.
Well, this is our 65th car show. We took a break in 2020 because of the pandemic, but we've got 436 cars here today. Behind me are what they call classic cars. They're luxury cars from the 1930s. They're amazing. But you'll see all kinds of cars here today from 1915 to 1998. Believe it or not, a 1998 car is considered a collectible.
Now, Stan Hywet, 300 acres, correct?
336.
Okay.
About 30 are open to the public. We have a lot of area that's just not gardens, but the 30 acres that you do get to see are magnificent. Historic gardens, they're all restored to the way they were in 1915.
And as far as tours of the Tudor house, how does that happen?
Well, if you come to the car show, the tour, it's a self-guided tour today, are included. On any other day, we're open Tuesday through Sunday for tours, which include guided tours, outdoor tours in the summer. There's a whole menu of tours depending on what you would like to do.
And also other venues. If you want to get married, no finer place
We're busy. This is wedding season from May through October, and especially in the fall. This is a great place to get married. Actually, a lot of people get engaged here too. So we offer all kinds of amenities, I guess you want to call it. We have special events. We have daily tours. You can get married here. You can even have your corporate party here. Well, we do it all.
I recommend the guided tour. Interesting things about the history of the home. Cyberling sleeping in the winter with these window opens.
Right.
Fascinating things.
Right. They believed, Mr. Cyberling especially loved to sleep. When you take a tour, you'll see these things called sleeping porches. So for 3 seasons, he liked to sleep out there. The idea being that fresh air was healthy.
And he lived for a long time, and
he
his
did.
family.
He was 94 when he passed away in 1955. So maybe it's true. I don't know.
Donna, we thank you so much for inviting us here today. And we're looking forward to some astounding automobiles. I consider them rolling pieces of art. We'll be back with more WAOH TV right after this. We're back. With me is Ed Davies, and Ed is a Studebaker expert. And Ed, you have a fleet of Studebakers.
Oh, just 7 of them.
We're standing next to, I think, one of the most beautiful automobiles ever built. And you probably are a little biased on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He pretty much tells us that every time we see it. Doesn't he? You know?
Right. Well, this platform originally came out in '53 as a
Yeah, the Starliner hardtop and coupe. It was all brand new styling at that time.
And very, very different and years ahead of its time, that style.
At that point in time, it really was.
And that kind of a speedster looking. And if you look at it, as a matter of fact, I think there's one here, a 53 or 54.
Right over there.
That basically is on the same platform.
Same platform. Yep.
And that's one thing that I marvel at Studebaker, is they were able to reinvent themselves every year and to duplicate automobiles, use the bumper on that car.
Oh yeah.
Is basically the same bumper on your car.
Same bumper.
But your car's pretty unique in as far as the style and some other things that the creator came up with.
Yeah, Brooks Stevens was the designer. He did, on a limited budget, a marvelous job of creating the Gran Turismo Hawk.
And the R1 engine, tell us about that.
Okay, it's a high compression, 10-to-1 compression ratio. The R1 is the 4-barrel carbureted version with 240 horsepower. The R2 is a supercharged version with 290 horsepower.
That's a lot of torque to the rear wheels for this vehicle. And surprisingly, they did quite well at drag races back in the day.
I'm sure they did, but I don't follow that.
Well, you think about the cars, the horsepower that they're putting out, that everybody's bragging about their horsepower today.
Oh.
The cars we had back at that time, they had way more horsepower. And you know, we didn't have to tweak them with computers and all that stuff to make them go. They were there.
Yeah. And, you know, those figures back then were pretty good, but not compared to these cars that are out today.
No,
It's amazing.
Right.
Yes, they are. Now, some of the uniqueness of this vehicle was the style of the grille, a little bit of a Mercedes look to the grille,
Little Mercedes touch, yeah.
and some Lincoln,
the moldings that go from front to back along the tops of the fenders.
So they copied some other ideas.
Yeah, and the Thunderbird roof line.
Yes.
Yeah.
So absolutely beautiful car. And again, you have to give Studebaker credit for on working on a budget.
Yep.
And
putting a good car out.
And against Detroit in the Big Three.
Right. Correct.
And Detroit and the Big Three did everything they could to make life miserable for Studebaker.
They did.
They sure did. And as a matter of fact, I understand that they went to U.S. Steel that was supplying the steel to Studebaker and said, if you if you can continue to supply steel to Studebaker, we won't buy your steel anymore.
Right. Right.
So Studebaker had to come up with their own production of steel plating, didn't they?
Well, after the war, they bought Empire Detroit Steel down in Mansfield, but it didn't produce the type of metal they needed, but they traded.
So they figured out a way
Yeah.
to keep
Hey,
going.
Rick.
They figured a way out to not let them stop them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the other ones have.
And if you're out and about at car shows, and if you're Ed will probably be there, and ask him about anything about Studebakers. He's the man. He knows. Thank you so much, Ed. Love your automobile.
Thank you, Randy.
Welcome back to WAOH, Handy Randy. I found a rare bird here. Not the car, Tom Ciccarelli.
Another old guy.
Another old guy. Aren't we all?
Yes,
Tom?
we are. Yeah.
Tom, rare.
Rare.
When I say rare, this is very rare.
This gets into the rare category.
1956
Dodge
Dodge.
Suburban two-door station wagon with the D500 package.
And a kind of special engine.
Yeah, it's the only 315 cubic inch Hemi they made for that year and even period.
And Hemi engines were remarkable even back then, and they had to have on the drag strips.
That was the engine to have back in the day. This car proves it. You can feel the way it pulls when you go up around, even climbing the hills around Portage Path and everything like that. You don't even have to shift it. It just step on the gas. It just goes up the hill. So there's a lot of torque.
Go and look at these old Chrysler products from the 50s, and a lot of them the engines were robbed out of them because of that engine.
Exactly. This, fortunately, is the original engine in this car still. It was rebuilt sometime in the past, and then it sat for many years. And Deb and I, we rescued it out of an industrial building that had sat for 12 years, and the dust was so bad on it that she washed it 5 times to try to get the dirt off.
Before she washed it,
Yeah.
I think you need to tell us a little bit of the story
About
how she wrote her name on it and how
Exactly.
she actually got it.
Yeah.
That's the story you need
Well,
to tell.
going back 10 years, the original owner of the car, she walked in and saw the car sitting in the back of the building, and she went up and wrote her name on the back of it. And he started yelling at her like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Well, this is going to be my car." Right. And he goes, "Ever my dead body." And unfortunately, that's what happened. And that's how she obtained the car.
He did die.
He died earlier this year.
And you did end up with the car.
We ended up with the car.
That's
And then,
awesome.
of course, it took some time getting it to
Right.
roadworthy at least. But unfortunately, it sat for many years, and the paint's questionable, but, it's fun to drive. And it's amazing how much power it does have for a wagon.
We won't talk about the price, and you don't need
No,
to talk.
no,
but
we're not. No.
Yeah, he should
But-
be in jail. But anyway,
Yes, that's exactly right. You should be in this car.
you mentioned the paint.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the lines of the mid 50s, all of the major manufacturers decided that we should target the women
Absolutely.
on buying decisions because they were home and a lot of times pulling the purse strings,
Yes.
not unlike today.
Not unlike today.
Well, maybe a little bit like today, I think.
When Dodge announced that they were going to build these D500 packaged cars, and they said we wanted a certain color to distinguish what they were. So the job ended up to the wife of the vice president of Dodge, and she actually picked the color choices for these D500 cars. Until later on, when people started arguing they didn't want that color, and Dodge had to cave in and say, "Okay, you can order whatever you want."
Right.
But the
But
early
not
ones,
unusual. In the mid 50s, we
No.
saw yellows and
Oh,
pinks
yes.
and pales and a
saw-
variety of.
look at the La Femme. That car was made for women by Dodge in '56,
It was all orchids and pinks and had
Yep.
flowers and makeup canisters and things like that in them.
Yeah, we had a lot of cars that like you said, the Fords in the pink colors.
Oh, absolutely.
And the cars that they catered to the women, which they got pushed away finally.
Yeah,
But you know,
absolutely.
You know, and for a while, people begged away from them, but
Yes.
now
now
saying,
they're attracting to them.
oh, I gotta have one
I
of
know.
these
Exactly.
because
They're looking
such
for 'em
a
again.
special automobile,
Right.
such a special. In this particular color,
Yeah.
was it your wife's first choice?
Oh, no. But she just said, I like the car.
Right.
It was the car that drew the attention. It was the wagon. So we wrote to Chrysler Historical Society, and they've kind of given us some information back saying, we believe we only made 5 of these. And this car is a standard shift, which is even rarer because we have another one of these Dodge wagons, and it's an automatic. And they said, well, that's what we built mostly were the automatic cars. So this one being a standard shift with overdrive puts it down to maybe 1 or 2.
Absolutely. And
So
again, when it comes to uniqueness, that's what you're after when you want an
exactly.
automobile. Right. I want different.
I want different. And so far, the people themselves are saying, oh my gosh, where did you find this car? Because it is so unusual. Do you see another even Dodge here?
Right.
Basically, I mean, from this vintage.
So where's Debbie at? Debbie, you got uniqueness in your husband and your automobile.
She's hanging around. Oh, there she is
here.
back there. Yeah, she's here.
We'll be
So-
back with more car stuff right after this. Welcome back to WAOH TV. We've been talking about some of the jewels of Akron. Of course, the Tudor home is one of those, a civic theater. But what about the race that was initially started in 1935 and now is Akron's very own, the All-American Soapbox Derby? And I'm surrounded by some lovely young people that are on what's known as the junior board of the All-American Soapbox Derby. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves as we go through here. We'll start over here.
My name is Sammy Wynn, and I'm the Akron Local Super Stock Champion this year.
Go, girl. And
My name's Alana, and I was 6th place in the Masters Division.
president.
And
of the-
president of the junior board.
El Presidente. She's humble.
My name is Sarah Colasar. I came in 3rd place in the Masters Division this year.
And
My name is Jonah. I came in 5th place in the Masters, and I'm a rally champion this year.
very good. See, what we're surrounded by championship derby racers, that it's no coincidence because this is a year-round endeavor, isn't it?
Yes, it happens. Like, there's a few races every year. And
And you go to rally races and earn points and able to.
yes, so there's different points for each place. And there's a local. And if you win the local, you go to All-American.
So we took a look at some of the derbies that are here, and a lot of artwork and craftsmanship in putting these derbies together, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot goes into it. Yeah.
And you have a sponsor of yours?
Yeah, Jennings Heating and Cooling, my sponsor. A lot of the racers have sponsors, so it really helps us, get going and race.
Now, if someone wanted to get involved in racing, is there an age category when we start when we're watching this program?
So the racers are from 7 to 21, and the stock is the lowest class, and it's from 7 to 13. and I thought it was the most fun, but it and then the super stock is from 9 to 17, and then masters is from I think 12 to 21.
I see. And if somebody wanted to get in this, they could contact the Soapbox Derby at the Rubber Bowl. Well, it used to be the Rubber Bowl. Sorry.
Yes, so they can contact Craig, or who is on the All-American board, or Jeff Iula, who's the president of the Akron board. Vicky, she's the local treasurer. There's a bunch of different people.
Or people can go to aasbd.org to learn about racing.
And a lot of fun.
Of course.
And,
Oh yeah.
and I'm surrounded by young people with grins on their faces. We're here at Stan Hywet, an opportunity to surprisingly people walking up and saying, they still do that?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of those. Yeah.
And it's alive and thriving here. And again, as I mentioned before, one of those jewels that we have here in our community. We'll be back with more WAOH TV right after this.
Hey guys, we're back here at Stan Hywet again. We're over here. Randy has been taking all the interviews. He keeps pushing me out. This time I pushed Randy out because I have a good friend of mine. Let's see, what we've been friends. 50 years?
50 years at least.
At least 50 years. So for 50 years, I come over to his house, and in his garage has been this Model A taken apart for 50 years. I keep asking him, when is it going to come back together? When is it going to get put back together? He keeps saying soon, soon. So 50 years have gone by, and standing behind me is the Model A. Jack Herrick is the owner, and I'm going to let him tell you the story about how he got the car.
Well, my dad gave it to me in 1958 for my birthday, and he and my mother drove it from Akron to Fort Meade, Maryland, and gave it to me on my birthday on April 8th, 1958. And I've had the car ever since. The first time we had the car involved with Model A work was when I was stationed in Detroit, and we were members of the Model A club up there, and used to go to Greenfield Village with this car.
That's great. And so, for how many years did the body sit up on a shelf, and the fenders? Well, the fenders sat down at Main Paint Body for how many years down there?
Well, it was in my garage in Barberton for many years, and then pieces got moved around, and finally I took the body over for Bob Young to tweak some of the little dings, and then Adam Young did the paint work on it.
I'm going to bring Bob in from Main Paint Body. Bob, come in here. This is Bob, another good friend of mine for at least, 5 years?
Couple centuries.
I didn't want to go that far, but that's okay.
Long time.
Many years, 50 years. Bob is the owner of Main Paint Body. He's run it for all this time. Finally, this past month, he decided it's time to retire, and he sold the building. But his son, Adam, is the one that did the whole car here for Jack. He did all the body work down there and putting the car back, all the paint of it. Then Jack, of course, took the pieces and put the car back together.
That's right. Actually, Bob did the metal work on the fenders and the little dings,
Right.
and Adam did all the metal or the paint work.
Did the paint work.
Yeah, did all the lead work and everything, yeah.
Right. Bob is one of the last of the guys that do lead work. There's nobody around anymore. He's it. So I've watched him for years doing this stuff. It's amazing.
We were DuPont distributors at our auto parts store, and Bob was a customer of ours. How long ago did you start, Bob?
I'm back in 63.
So before 63, because we sold to his predecessor.
Right.
54, he opened that business, and I came there. And he retired after 30 years, Steve Neiman, and I purchased it and kept the trade and kept the quality going.
Right.
Quality was ahead of quantity. We never believed in quantity. It was always quality.
Right. Yes. Steve Nemeth was the owner of the body shop, Main Paint Body, and then Bob bought it, and he ran it all the way till now until he's retired. So it was a body shop that put out the best product that you could find anywhere in Akron or anywhere.
And his son Adam is going to continue the work in another shop here in the near future.
Yep. If you need your car painted, call Adam. He's great.
He's already got 2 years stuff backed up.
Right.
He keeps gaining more work.
He does all my cars. He puts everything together I have, so it's great.
He could work on Ferraris.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he just got through with a Porsche
too. Yeah, $150,000 car. He just did the construction on that. It was collision.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get some shots of the car, and we'll see you guys all later on the next one.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Handy Randy Lipscomb with my sidekick, Ken Manda. And just to let you know that WAOH TV is back. And we're going to be in the wonderful world of automobiles from this point forward for as long as the creek don't rise.
You mean as long as we're still breathing and we can stay out here and we can keep showing these cars and getting this sport back going again, right?
That's kind of what I was talking about.
well, that's how you had to say it. Remember, Okay.
So we're hoping that we can, there's car shows weekly.
All over.
We're going to do our best to come back and bring shows like this into your living room or YouTube, whatever it may be. And we want to thank WAOH Television for caring about Akron and the Akron community and bringing television back to you folks and show you icons like Stan Hywet and icons like. We'll be back with more car stuff. Thanks for watching, folks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So see you again later.
WAOH is brought to you in part by Jumpstart Video, online at jumpstartvideo.com.